I was struggling with the guitars, so I went back and made some tweaks. I contacted some friends, and Rui himself, the guy that gave me the tracks, gave me some tips on improving the tone of the guitar. So what I've done is I removed the reamping plugins, the GTR from Waves, and I went back and just used compression and EQ, and I'll show you what moves I used. And that's it. I'm not gonna use any guitar plugins, any VSTIs. So I'm not gonna use any guitar plugins to try to improve the tone. I realized I spent too much time doing that. So now I went back and kept it a little basic, but I did add a couple of things. So what I've done is I've added a parallel guitar track. Basically, I bounced the guitar mix down to another track, and I'm using it for parallel compression. It's only adding a little bit. Mainly, it's adding volume, but without peaking and without clipping, so that's helping a little bit. I also tweaked the kicks to get more punch out of them. I used a different EQ approach, and now they sound more punchy and more clear. And on the mix bus, I didn't make any changes, but I did make some changes on the guitar bus and on the actual stems. So let me walk you through those things I did now, and let me know if you think it sounds better. So let's walk through the changes that I've done, and I'll start from left to right. The first thing that I did was I changed the EQ on the kicks. Well, I don't have something to compare it to, but you heard the previous mix. So let me let you hear individually what they sound like. So that's the original kick without the plugins. Okay, so I made a decision to change it because I have a trigger, as you know, and what I did then is I'm using this kick for a little bit of the click on the kick so that it makes it cut through the mix more, because it was getting lost with the bass and the guitars and stuff like that. This is what it sounds like with both the trigger and the original kick. So there you can hear more definition. So even by itself it sounds good, but it needs this in order for it to cut through the mix. And once you hear the entire mix, you'll know why. All right, I did make some adjustments to the snare. This is what it sounds like. Besides making, I actually took off the original compressor I had there, and I added the CLA 76. It's got about 8 dBs of gain reduction, and I turned off the decapitator. And I'll get rid of that now. Okay, it still sounds a little weak there, but it sounds great in the mix. You'll hear it right now. Okay, and then let's hear the entire drum mix just by itself, so you could hear what it sounds like after I've made the changes. The other thing that I did on the drums is I added the virtual tape machine. I adjusted some of the EQ using the active EQ of the Mac DSP Active EQ AE400. I didn't do anything to the overheads themselves, so now the drums are sounding a little bit better. The cymbals are not so loud, and the ride sounds just right because the rest of the guitars and all the instruments have that bleed, so that those frequencies were fighting with each other, so I had to take them down a bit on the drums. Let me go through the bass now. So that's the original bass, and with the parallel compression, I actually raised the volume on the parallel track. So that's what that one sounds like by itself. Let me see if the compression does anything. I don't remember. No, okay. All right, so together they sound like this. Now, I did mess up like the gain staging that I had done, but that's okay. I mean, that's just a guide. Like I said at the beginning, it doesn't have to be an exact science. So I was using a bit of the volume to my advantage. The main thing is that at the end of my mix, I want to make sure I have a good healthy level, which I do. And I'll show you shortly. Okay, so that's the bass. Now, like I said on the guitars, I took out the GTR plugin and I just used EQ and compression, and I added the Renaissance AAX mono compressor or limiter, and that helped it a little bit. And I did use the radiator, so let's go through that. And thanks Jeff and Rui for giving me some tips on bringing this thing back to life. To me it sounds better. I was trying to change the tone too much, so I'm just gonna leave them like they sound, and I'm just gonna move on because I can't spend all the time doing this, and I needed to take some time outside of the video to actually focus on fixing some of the bad frequencies. So this is what the original guitar sounded like. That's the left guitar. Okay, this is what it sounds like with the plugins, but there is a little bit of gain being added. See right there on the Renaissance AAX plugin. But it's giving it that lift that I needed, so I like it. So I'm okay with it adding gain. And then the radiator at the end. And the radiator gave it some more gain, but I like the tone that it's giving it. So I'm using the color of the plugins to add that gain, and the gain works for me. And I got rid of the micro shift. I might add it back, but I just left a little bit of the Haas and a little bit of the plate. And I did pull back the high pass filter. You can see it here. I pushed it forward, sorry. And it's up to like 250, I think, because there was just too much boominess there. All right, on the right track, on the right guitar, I took out everything and did the same thing, just some EQing, got rid of some of the bad frequencies. And then I added the same plugin, the limiter from Renaissance or Waves, and a little bit of the plate. Sounds like this. Now, I bounced the guitars into another track, a separate track, and I'm calling it parallel stereo. And I also have one that I call parallel mono. While it is adding gain, it is giving me the tone that I was after. And all I have on this one is Decapitator and Virtual Tape Machine. One thing to keep in mind is when I bounced this parallel track, I did it with all of the plugins. So it was already, the low end was removed. I had some high pass filters and low pass filters on it. And this is a parallel track in mono. What I'm doing with this one is trying to smooth out the top end. So it's got a lot of hiss, a lot of noise. Same thing, I'm using the decapitator and the virtual tape machine. Let's hear the guitars by themselves. Okay, so it's got a little bit of the low end that I wanted, the punch, the body, and without any boominess. So that's really nice. Okay, and the lead vocal, I didn't do much other than I added a little EQ on the stem here. And I just added about 4 dBs, 5 dBs at 8K, and some other tweaks that I did here at 3.5, and took out at 1000 a little bit. And I did the same for the drums. Actually, I used Sheps for this one. Just a little EQ there. And on the mix bus, I haven't changed anything. Let's hear the mix in context now. And let me just bring it in one at a time. So I'm gonna focus here on the stems, as you can see here. So I have 4 stems: drums, bass, guitars, and vocals. So I'm gonna start here in the intro. And actually, I'm gonna bring them in. I'm gonna bring them down. And not this one. Whoops, man. Okay. Here's the drums. All right, and I also got some good feedback from Sean Brockman. Thank you, Sean. And he gave me some good tracks to reference. So I actually downloaded Sepultura Territory.
Um senhor que é o tal. Tenho uma arma carregada, só dispara poesia, minha fiel aliada no combate do dia a dia. Paz.
All right, let's check our levels. And I'm going to use Dynameter just to listen to the level of compression that's coming out of this mix. Okay, so I gotta fix the mix bus because you can see that it's highly compressed, but once I take out this compressor from the mix bus, it's sounding pretty nice. All right, so I do need to continue to work on it, but you get an idea of how hard a mix can get or how difficult you can make the mixes. I feel I made this mix more difficult. But again, I'm not mixing this song because I'm trying to learn how to mix metal. The purpose of this whole series is to show you that anyone can mix a metal song. You don't have to be a metal mixer. Of course, someone who has mixed metal all of their life, they're gonna be able to mix this a lot better, like my friend Jeff, who can mix any guitars, who can make any guitar sound really good. And he actually reamped the guitars for me. I sent them to him so he can reamp them. And the difference in tone was okay. So he suggested that I just focus on compression and EQ, which is great. I didn't use the tracks that he sent me, but I'm still gonna make some tweaks in the background. And this is what mixing is all about, really. I'm not trying to show you, I'm not trying to ask, I mean, yes, I appreciate the feedback, don't get me wrong, but I'm not trying to ask you to help me mix this because I'm really not doing it to show you how I mix or to show you that I can mix it better than you or to tell you how to mix it. It's just to share my workflow with you. And of course, the feedback is appreciated and I'm learning as I go. But it's mainly to share my workflow and just to share how we can all mix anything, really. I mean, every mix is only going to get better for you and I. So I hope that, you're enjoying the series. I know I am. It's fun. I do hate the stopping and going. I feel like if I almost have to mix the whole thing and then just break it up into videos, because what I'm doing right now is I'm making a video, then I stop. I edit the video, then I mix another little bit. So I lose that continuity. You see what I'm saying? So anyways, I really appreciate all the feedback, everyone talking to me about this. I can't wait to go back to Pro Tools, honestly, because Studio One is missing a lot of things that it's really making me tired. It's making my workflow a little bit complicated. It could be for two reasons. Number one is that I'm not used to it like I am with Pro Tools. But I do miss Pro Tools and doing the video series in Pro Tools. So the next video series is going to be back in Pro Tools. And then later on, I'm going to try to focus on improving my workflow, meaning I'll mix the whole song, then I'll break it up into videos, or maybe just make it one long video. Okay, so I'm not done with this song yet. I'll be back, and I promise you it's going to sound 100% better once we're done and once you guys keep giving me feedback and stuff. So I'm loving it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And also come and join us at our Facebook page and shoot me an email if you have any questions, ns345music@gmail.com. Thank you.